Back with part 5 of this week's reading of the Messianic Jewish Family Bible, Tree of Life version, TLV, and we are in the middle of chapter 46. The word that Adonai spoke to Jeremiah, the prophet, about the coming of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon to strike the land of Egypt, declare it in Egypt, proclaim in Migdol, and announce in Noph and Tahpanhes. Say, stand up and get ready, for the sword has devoured all around you. Why are your strong ones swept away? They did not stand up because Adonai thrust him down. They keep stumbling, yes, falling over each other. Then they said, get up. Let's return to our own people, to the land of our birth, away from the oppressor's sword. They cried there, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, is but a noise. He let the opportune time pass. As I live, declares the king, whose name is Adonai Sabaoth, like Tabor among the mountains, or like Carmel by the sea, so surely he will come, O daughter dwelling in Egypt. Get your bags ready for exile, for Noph will become a ruin, laid waste, uninhabited. Egypt is a beautiful heifer, but a biting fly is coming from the north. It is coming. Even her mercenaries among her are like stalled-fed calves, for they also will turn back. They will flee away together. They will not stand up, for the day of their calamity has come upon them, the time of their visitation. Its sound will hiss like a snake as they march with an army and come against her. As woodcutters with axes they cut down her forest. It is a declaration of Adonai, though it was impenetrable, for they are worse than the locusts. They are without number. The daughter of Egypt is disgraced, handed over to people of the north. Adonai Sabaoth, the God of Israel, says, behold, I will punish Ammon of No Pharaoh, Egypt, with her gods and her kings, even Pharaoh and them that trust in him. I will hand them over to those seeking their lives, into the hand of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon and his servants. Yet afterwards it will be inhabited as in the days of old. It is a declaration of Adonai. But you fear not, Jacob my servant, nor be dismayed, O Israel, for behold, I will save you from afar, your offspring from the land of their exile, and Jacob will return and be at peace, and secure, no one frightening him. Fear not, Jacob my servant, it is a declaration of Adonai, for I am with you. I will make a full end of all the nations where I have driven you, but I will not make a full end of you. I will discipline you with justice, but will not utterly destroy you. And that is the end of chapter 46. Prophecy against the Philistines. The word of Adonai came to the prophet Jeremiah concerning the Philistines before Pharaoh struck Gaza. Thus says Adonai, look, waters rising from the north will become an overflowing torrent, and overflowing the land and all in it, the city and those dwelling in it, and the men will cry, and every inhabitant of the land wail. The noise and stomping hooves of his stallions, the rumbling of his chariots, the reverberation of his wheels. Fathers will not turn back for their children because of their limp hands, for the day is coming to devastate all the Philistines, to cut off from Tyre and Sidon every remaining ally. For Adonai will destroy the Philistines. The rest of the island of Caphtor, baldness has come upon Gaza. Ashkelon is ruined, O remnant of their valley. How long will you gash yourself, O sword of Adonai? How long until you are quiet? Go back into your sheath, rest and be still. How can you be quiet when Adonai has commanded? He has assigned it against Ashkelon and against the coast of the sea. Chapter 48. Prophecy against Moab. Concerning Moab, thus says Adonai Sabaoth, the God of Israel, Oi to Nebo, for it will be ravaged. Kiriathaim will be disgraced and captured, the fortress will be shame-shattered. There is no more praise for Moab and Heshbon. They plotted evil against her. Come, let's cut her off as a nation. You too, madmen, will be silenced. The sword will chase you, the sound of outcry from Horonaim, and that's Horonaim, devastation and great destruction. Moab has shattered, her little ones have raised a cry to be heard, for as the accent of Luhith, they go up with the continual weeping. From the descent of Horonim, they heard the foe's shattering cry, Flee, escape with your lives. Be like a tamarisk in the wilderness, for because of your trust in your works and your treasures you will be captured too. Chemosh will go into exile together with the priests and princes. The destroyer will come to every town. No town will escape. The valley will perish, and the plain will be destroyed, as Adonai has said. Give wings to Moab, for she must fly and get away. Her cities will become a wasteland, with no one living in them. Cursed is the one who does the work of Adonai with slackness, and cursed is the one who withholds his sword from blood. Moab has been at ease since his youth. He has settled like wine on its dregs. He has not been emptied from jar to jar, nor gone into exile. Therefore he retains his flavor, and his aroma has not changed. Therefore, behold, days are coming. It is a declaration of Adonai, when I will send to him those who will tip him up and over, and they will empty his vessels and smash his jars in pieces. So Moab will be ashamed of Chemosh, and that's Chemosh, just as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their confidence. How can you say we are warriors and men valiant for battle? I had to pause that for a minute and take a drink of water. I've actually been doing 3 recordings tonight, and this is the big one. I'm actually doing the full book of Jeremiah in one night's recording, so I'm losing my voice. Not used to talking so much in one night, so bear with me. We're actually getting through this this week's reading very soon. Um, it's very exciting, actually. There's just so much happening in the book of Jeremiah. How can you say we are warriors and men valiant for battle? Moab is ravaged, its towns entered, its choice young men gone down to slaughter. It is a declaration of the king, whose name is Adonai Sabaoth. Moab's calamity will come soon, and his downfall hastens swiftly. Mourn for him, all who are around him, all who know his name. Say how the mighty scepter, the splendid rod is broken, O daughter dwelling in Dibon. Come down from your glory and sit in thirst, for Moab's destroyer has come to you. He has devastated your strongholds, O inhabitant of Aroer, Aroer, Aroer. Stand by the road and watch. Ask him fleeing and her escaping. What has happened? Moab is disgraced indeed, shattered. Wail and shriek. Declare by Arnon, Moab is ruined. Judgment has come on the tableland, on Holon, Zaza, Mephath, on Dibon, Nebo, Beth Diblatham, on Kiriathim, Beth Gamal, Beth Meon, on Kirioth, Basra, and all the towns of the land of Moab, far and near. The horn of Moab is cut off, and his arm is broken. It is a declaration of Adonai. Make him drunk, for he exalted himself against Adonai. So Moab will wallow in his vomit and also become a laughingstock. After all, Israel is a laughingstock to you. Was he ever found among thieves, that whenever you speak of him you should wag the head? Inhabitants of Moab, leave the towns and dwell in crags. Like a dove nesting in a cave's mouth, we have heard of the pride of Moab. Very proud he is, his haughtiness, his arrogance, his insolence, and his self-exalted heart. I know his arrogance, says Adonai, but it is dishonest. His boasts really accomplish nothing. Therefore I wail for Moab. Yes, I cry out for all Moab. For the men of Kirhiris I moan. More than weeping of Jazer will I weep for you, vine of Sibmah. Your branches spread to the sea, reached as far as the sea of Jazer. On your summer fruits and your vintage the destroyer has fallen. So joy and gladness are taken away from the fruitful field and from the land of Moab. I stopped wine from the wine presses. No one will tread with shouting. Any shouting is not a shout of joy. From the outcry of Heshbon to Elileh, as far as Jahaz, they will raise their voice from Zor to Horonaim, and 3-year-old heifer for the waters of Nimrim also will be waste. Moreover, I will make an end in Moab. It is a declaration of Adonai, of the one offering on the high place and the one burning incense to his gods. That is why my heart is moaning like funeral flutes for Moab, and my heart moans like flutes for the people of Kirhiris. For the wealth he made is lost, for every head is bald, every beard clipped, and all the hands are gashes, and around the waist sackcloth. On all the housetops of Moab and in its squares, lamentation everywhere, for I have broken Moab like a jar in which no one delights. It is a declaration of Adonai. How shattered it is, they wailed. How Moab turned his back in shame. So Moab will become a laughingstock and horror to all around him. For thus says Adonai, behold, he will swoop down like a vulture and spread out his wings against Moab. The towns are captured, the stronghold seized. The hearts of Moab's warriors in that day will be like the heart of a woman in labor. Can't talk here. Moab will be destroyed as a people because he boasted against Adonai. Panic, pit, and trap are upon you, inhabitants of Moab, declares Adonai. The one who flees from panic will fall into the pit, and the one who climbs out of the pit will be caught in the trap. For I will bring on Moab the year of their visitation. It is a declaration of Adonai. In the shadow of Heshbon, the fugitives stop, exhausted, for fire breaks out of Heshbon, flame from within Sihon, and it singes the foreheads and the scalps of Moab's noisy sons. Oi to you, Moab! Oi to you, Moab! The people of Chemosh have perished, for your sons are taken away captive, and your daughters into exile. Yet I will restore Moab from exile in the end of days. It is a declaration of Adonai. Until then, this is the judgment of Moab. So what Jeremiah is doing at this point is there's prophecies against all the other nations that had at once gone against Israel as well. But they're also, if we think about it, also these are nations that are worshiping other gods. These are pagan nations as well. Against surrounding nations, this is chapter 49. About Ammon's children, thus says Adonai, how Israel has Israel no sons? Has he no heir? Why then did Malcolm dispossess Gad, and his people settled in its towns? Therefore, behold, days are coming. It is a declaration of Adonai, when I will sound an alarm of war heard against Rabbah of Ammon. It will become a mound of ruins. Her villages will be burned with fire. Then Israel will dispossess those who dispossessed him. It is a declaration of Adonai. Wail Heshbon, for Ai is devastated. Cry, daughters of Rabbah, wear sackcloth, lament, and run to and fro within the walls, for Malcolm will go into captivity together with his priests and princes. Why do you brag about valleys, your flowing valley, faithless daughter, trusting in your treasures who will come against me? I am about to bring terror on you, a declaration of my Lord Adonai Sebaot from all those around you. Each of you will be banished headlong, with no one to gather the fugitives. Yet afterward I will restore Ammon's children from exile. It is a declaration of Adonai. And Ammon's children is we're talking about the land of Jordan. About Edom, thus says Adonai Sebaot, is there no longer wisdom in Teman? Is counsel lost to the prudent? Has their wisdom vanished? Flee, turn back, stay low, inhabitants of Dedan. For I will bring Esau's calamity on him at the time that I punish him. If grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave gleanings? If thieves came at night, would they not destroy only enough for themselves? But I will strip Esau bare. I will uncover his hiding places, so he will not be able to hide himself. His offspring has been destroyed with his kinsmen and neighbors, so he is nothing. Leave your orphans, I will keep them alive, and let your widows trust in me. For thus says Adonai, behold, if those who do not deserve to drink the cup must surely drink, Can you utterly can you go utterly unpunished? You will not go unpunished, for you shall surely drink. For I have sworn by myself, it is a declaration of Adonai, that Basra will become a horror, a disgrace, a waste, and a curse. All its towns will be ruins forever. I heard a message from Adonai, an ambassador is sent to the nations. Gather together, come against her, and rise up for war. For see, I made you least among nations, despised among men. Your terrorism has deceived you, so that your heart is arrogant. You live in the clefts of the rock, who occupy the height of the hill. Though you make your nest as high as an eagle's, I will bring you down from there. It is a declaration of Adonai. Edom will become a desolation. Everyone passing by will be appalled and hiss at all its plagues. Was a little something about Edom. Edom actually um, went against Judah and actually turned against Judah and helped Judah to get captured by the Chaldeans. So Edom will actually become annihilated and will no longer exist at all. They will just, when they are destroyed, they're destroyed. Like the overthrow of Sodom, Gomorrah, and their neighbors, says Adonai, no one will live there, nor any son or man dwell there. Look, it is like a lion coming up from the thickets of the Jordan to secure pasture. For abruptly I will make him run away from it. I appoint over it whomever I choose. For who is like me? Who will summon me to court? What shepherd stands up to me? Therefore hear the plan that Adonai has drawn up against Edom, and his strategies that he designed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock will be dragged away. Surely he will make their pasture desolate because of them. The earth will tremble as the noise of their downfall. The sound of their outcry will be heard at the sea of reeds. Behold, he will mount up and swoop down like an eagle and spread out his wings against Basra. The hearts of Edom's warriors in that day will be like a woman's heart in her pangs. About Damascus, Hamath and Arpad are ashamed, for they heard bad news. They melt away in the sea. There is trouble that cannot be quiet. Damascus has become feeble. She turns away to flee. Panic grips her. Anguish and pangs have seized her, like a woman in travail. How is the city of praise deserted, the city of my joy? Therefore her young men will fall in her squares. All the warriors will be silenced in that day. It is a declaration of Adonai. I will set fire to the wall of Damascus. It will devour Ben-Hadad's palaces. About Kedar and of the kingdoms of Hazar, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon struck. Thus says Adonai, after arise, go up against Kedar, and devastate the children of the east. They will take away their tents and their flocks. They will carry away their curtains, all their gear, and their camels. They will cry out against them, terror on every side. Flee, scatter far, stay low, inhabitants of Hazor. It is a declaration of Adonai. For King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon has taken counsel against you and devised a plan against you. Arise, go up against a nation at ease, dwelling securely, says Adonai. They have no gators. They have no gates. No, wait a minute. They have no gates or bars. They dwell alone. Their camels will become plunder. Their many cattle a spoil. I will scatter to all the winds those who shave the edges. I will bring their calamity from every side. It is a declaration of Adonai. Hazor will be a lair of jackals, a desolation forever. No one will abide there, nor any man, nor any son of man dwell there. The word of Adonai that came to the prophet Jeremiah about Elam at the beginning of the reign of King Zedekiah of Judah, saying, Thus says Adonai Sabaoth, behold, I will break Elam's bow, the source of their might. I will bring upon Elam the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and will scatter them to all those winds. There will be no nation where the dispersed of Elam will not go. I will shatter Elam before their enemies, and before those seeking their soul I will bring calamity on them. My burning anger, it is a declaration of Adonai. I will send the sword after them until I consume them. Then I will put my throne in Elam and destroy from it king and princes. It is a declaration of Adonai. Yet it will be in the end of days that I will restore Elam from exile. It is a declaration of Adonai. Chapter 50, against Babylon. So here we go. There's going to be prophecies against Babylon here. The word that Adonai spoke about Babylon, about the land of the Chaldeans, through Jeremiah the prophet, declared among the nations and proclaim, raise a banner, announce, hide nothing, say, Babylon will be captured, Bel put to shame, Merodach dismayed, her images disgraced, her idols shattered. Her nation comes up against her. Out of the land of the north it will desolate her land. No one will dwell there. They have fled, gone, both man and beast. Declaration of restoration. In those days at that time, it is a declaration of Adonai. The children of Israel will come together with the children of Judah, weeping as they come, and will seek Adonai their God. They will ask about Zion the way. Here are their faces come. They will join themselves to Adonai in an everlasting covenant that will never be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds led them astray. Turning around in the mountains, they went from mountain to hill and forgot their resting place. Everyone finding them devoured them. Their foes said, we're not guilty. Instead, they sinned against Adonai, their habitation of justice, Adonai, the hope of their fathers. And the next section is that jump. I'm just watching this online recorder. It just kind of, there might be some static there. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to pause it and come back with another section before I start this section. I don't think I'm going to get done with it. It's already at 22 minutes. I have no idea what this counter is doing. So to be on the safe side, I think I'm just going to pause it for now.